Hey everyone, my name is Rooster, and welcome back to Mechabellum. Today's video is going to be all about carry Void Eyes, specifically in Standard, so in a long-range game. I'll be up against Napping, who is a very well-known Standard player, and, well, we'll just have to see what we can do. Looking at my starter packs, I quite like, most of them honestly are playable here, but I decided to go for Sledgehammer Void Eye, which is a pack that I've been experimenting with a bit more as of late. I think that this actually has a lot of good matchups, and even it tends to win against pretty much anything it faces. Maybe Stormcaller can be a little bit annoying, but apart from that, it's got, really good tankability and very, very good DPS as well against pretty much anything mid-sized, from Sledgehammers and Steel Balls to the bigger units like Spiders and Sabers. Now, the way that I'm going to set this up is, of course, symmetrically in the middle of my board. Void Eyes are going to be slightly further back, as I want the Sledgehammers to tank for them. And, well, opponent here has a Sledgehammer opener as well. Goes for the Amplify Specialist. Amp cores going to go onto those Sledgehammers. And, well, I guess this is perhaps also a matchup where I might struggle, because the problem with Sledgehammers is that 2 Sledgehammer packs tends to not be enough against a triple crawler start, so you get overwhelmed. That means I kind of need Arc Lights, but at the same time, I also somewhat need crawlers, because I know that he will go for a DPS option here. And yeah, they are the double marksman. So, a little bit rough here. I don't know what would have been best. I need Arc Lights and I need crawlers. I think either option will lose me the first round anyway, so I just go for Arc Lights and I'll buy the crawlers later. I guess there is something to be said though for going crawler first here, because maybe you get a unit drop on round 2. And, well, if none of you bought Arc Lights, then you could get Arc Lights from the unit drop. Whereas I won't be able to get crawlers from the unit drop. Void Eyes here doing okay. As you can see, they are managing to take out some of the Sledgehammers. But, of course, Marksmen have a shooting gallery in front of them with nothing but good targets. And, yeah. Sadly, that is not going to be enough for us to win the first round. Not too bad though. Only a couple units survive. And this will get a lot better once we actually get some chaff. Round number 2, we do get unit reinforcements. And honestly, nothing here catches my eye. And I don't necessarily want to play Typhoon or Steel Ball. Ideally, I would have recruited triple crawler, but, well, that would cost 350, and I have to pay 100 for every single one of these unit drops. So, yeah, Farseer is, always a safe pick. I don't have Upshoot currently, so, getting something that can deal with air units is nice. And who says no to a Farseer this early, let's be honest. I am a missile spec, so I have some missiles available here. Question is, do I want to use 1? Do I want to use 2 and kind of stagger them? I decided to stagger them because I thought he might go for something like Stormcaller. He ends up picking the Farseer instead, but I really wanted to kind of wait it out and perhaps get a higher value missile next round. We can still get a decent one here though, where we can hit a marksman, kill it, and soften up some of the Sledgehammers, maybe even catch some of those crawlers. And yeah, speaking of crawlers, I do pick up 2 of those myself. Opponent picks up 2 more as well from the looks of things. And then that's going to be the round. I'm probably still slightly unfavored. Oh, that looks like it could be a very nasty missile. We'll have to see, but yeah. That is definitely a potential issue. Here it goes. What hits the quarter 2, that is horrific. Sledgehammer pack, Arc Light, and 2 Void Eyes killed. Yeah. I think the positioning here has 2 squares in between the Void Eyes and Sledgehammers. And when this happened, I realized that if I do this setup again, I should have 3 squares at least. Because, sadly, the Void Eyes are slightly faster at 8 meters a second than the Sledgehammers. And that means they, catch up ever so slightly and get caught up in that blast radius of the missile. So, looks like we're going to lose the round again. Honestly, not too bad. I think Farseer did a good job here of reducing the damage taken, considering we lost basically half of our army. And, well, this round, Amp Core does show up. Opponent picks it. Bit surprised about that. I don't think this item is insanely valuable at its cost. It's quite an expensive item. But I guess it can get some scaling in. Sometimes it's still valuable on certain giants, but definitely not as pickable as it was before. Opponent picks up another Farseer, some Fangs in the middle. We have our second missile. Just going to go for the same thing here. Target that level 1 marksman because the level 2 can survive it. Has over 3k hit points. And Amp Core is going to find its way onto a Farseer. Not terrible, but I don't think it's necessarily that valuable either. We decide to go range on the arc lights, 1 arc light in the middle, and we add 2 Fangs here on the front to prevent any missiles from destroying our board again. And let's see. Opponent does have quite a few packs of chaff already. Grand total of, I believe, 6. So it's good that we did pick up some chaff clear with range here. And now what I want to do is try and work my way towards range on the Void Eyes and perhaps something like Charge Shot. And I really do believe that there is something to be said for standard Void Eyes, especially paired with something like Sledgehammers and Farseers ever since they became somewhat of a carry after all of the buffs and tack additions. But yeah, looks good here. Arclight will go down to his amped Farseer, so I guess it has made a difference. This would have died if it didn't have an amp core. And yeah, just a very minor win here. Looks like we're gonna win by just a Farseer and an Arclight, but we've stabilized. Round number 4, Enhancement module shows up, Smoke Bomb shows up. I would say those are kind of the 2 things that I could think about. I guess maybe super heavy armor if we manage to get a sledge level, although we're still quite a way off of that. And yeah, here comes the smoke. Just going to try and layer that onto the left side, try and hit a Farseer, and then try to hit part of the middle. Reason for this is if my opponent shields, he probably shields in the middle, so I can at least guarantee part of it landing here on the side. Opponent goes for it as well in the middle. I make a slight mistake here, where I do decide to shield and pick up some chaff, because that's all I wanted to do. I do need to get more small units on my board, but I should have shielded way further up. People always tend to put the smoke bomb, like, kind of on the line. And even, you know, even if I would put it where I put it, I could put the barriers further up and it would still block it as well. Now it's going to land for the most part still. And, yeah, the shields aren't really going to do that much. I mean, they might still block a good amount of damage during the round, but I meant for them to block the smoke. This does mean, of course, that we can't get range on our Void Eyes yet, but we didn't pick up any levels, so yeah, maybe that's fine. More Sledgehammers now showing up on the enemy board. And if we look at the tech bar, it is full carry Sledgehammer setup. EMP and AP alongside that Mech Rage and Range, which most people run. Smoke does land, and yeah, you can see what I mean, right? Most of my units, sadly, still get caught in that smoke, get their range reduced, and then start walking forward into the enemy board. I do have a level 2 Farseer, which I managed to pick up, so that's a nice advantage I have over my opponent. And it's going to start to chip away here at the enemy forces, take out the Sledgehammers, splash onto the Farseer every now and then. Looking pretty good. Arclight right side getting stuck somewhat though. This is where I can see I really need some DPS. Opponents added more Sledgehammers, so it really is time to get into those Void Eyes. And yeah, let's see. Somehow tower there goes down outside of my shield. I'm not sure what happened there. But I get to keep my shield, my barrier, somehow. Not exactly sure what occurred there. I guess it's because the shield is, like, right on the edge of the tower. So it's not really protecting it, but it was probably just, like, the curvature of the barrier was, like, blocking some of the shots. And then one Farseer shot happened to, like, kind of curve around and hit the tower. Very, very weird. Opponent goes for Mech Rage here. And I decided to finally grab some Void Eyes and elite recruit them at level 2. on the outsides. I do need more chaff clear on the edges here as well, but I'm probably going to have to wait for that. Opponent picked up a portable shield this round, which is a very, very good sledgehammer item, so makes sense. And the chaff is also starting to get quite serious here. We've got 5 crawlers in the back, 4 fangs up front. I only have 3 arc lights at the moment, and I guess I have, you know, some sledgehammers, but I probably need to get something else as well. Void Eyes are going to start to lock on, and manage to grab some levels, the ones in the middle. That's very nice. Levels are going to be crucial here, because of course, we are still playing 100 cost units. So they're going to need the levels to try and kind of make up for the difference between them and the more expensive units on my opponent's board. Not looking too bad though. Shield here tanking very nicely. We managed to take out all of the sledgehammers from the looks of things. And now it's just down to this level 2 Farseer. Marksman going to fall. Sadly, Void Eye is going to have to walk through the smoke, so I don't think we're going to win this. But that didn't look too bad. Very, very close game so far. Void Eye going to take out the tower, but then get stuck on that amped level 2 Farseer, which is slightly too tanky. We do take a bit more damage. Still though, 3.2k, not the worst. And round number 6, we get unit reinforcements once more. Now, there's a bunch of air units in there, but I am eyeing that Hound pack. Level 2 Hounds, famously able to one-shot level 1 crawlers, so very nice. Quad deployment is always worth considering. And, well, that kind of fixes my chaff gear problem, right? I was meaning to grab some more arc lights, but then, you know, I would have to think about Shielded Fang or loose formation. And, well, Hounds don't really have the same issues, even though they are lower range. And I just decided to use them instead. 2 on the outsides here to help out these Void Eyes. 2 in the middle, kind of to stagger in between my existing arc lights. And we're going to have to probably range those. Yep, there we go. Going to pick up some more fangs as well. I'm trying to create funnels here. Hopefully some of the chaff will start to kind of walk in straight towards my hounds in this way. And also my hounds will be protected from getting insta-locked by anything. Opponent also goes for the hounds here. More crawlers getting picked up too. So it's a good thing that we went for more chaff. Or chaff clear. And then that's kind of going to be it for now. I guess I still have 350 in the bank. Oh, I'm going to range my Farseer. Main reasons for that is because I was somewhat afraid of the enemy going Wasp or Phoenix or even the Wraith that was offered. And while Farseer is very good upshoot, it didn't have range yet, so I wanted to make sure that it does stay safe. And it's a good unit to pick range on anyway for my comp, right? My comp is probably going to be this ground-based like Void Eye plus Arc plus Hound combination with some sledgehammers, and then the upshoot will be carry Farseer. Void Eyes though, doing great with those levels. This is looking much better. Right side still struggling somewhat against that level 2 Farseer, but my left side seems to be winning. And as we're chewing through the Hounds, chewing through the sledgehammers, we do get debuffed, but it's not a bad timing whatsoever. We managed to get the second one. And that should mean that we do pick up another round. Again, very marginal win. Not going to be much damage whatsoever, but we'll take it. Getting to kill all the enemy units means that we get a bunch of more levels on the Void Eyes, and that's going to make it all the much easier to get through the opponent's forces. Round number 7, Incendiary Bomb shows up. I feel like I do have to pick it with the amount of chaff that's on the enemy board, and well, Incendiary plus Oil, it's a classic combination, and at this level, hard to skip. So yeah, we do go for it. Incendiary Bomb, you can already see the oil there being layered. And well, I'm gonna have to shield up myself because I don't want to get caught up in that fire. And now, well, it's probably just going to be some Void Eye levels, which we already picked up. And I'm starting to think, do I need Charge Shot here? And I seem to think, yes, I do. I was debating whether I wanted Charge Shot or Suppression Shot. Suppression shots gives a little bit more range, which is always nice. And it also reduces the target's range by 30% for 2 seconds. So it kind of cripples them, which can slow the advance. But yeah, I felt like Charge Shot was just better as a second tech because it'll kill the enemy faster. That's the simple reason. And if we can get rid of the enemy units, then we should do that instead of simply letting them be on the board for slightly longer with lower range. Opponent goes for oil, doesn't pick fire. Tries to kind of connect off of my oil. Little bit sad that he managed to somehow thread the needle on the one spot that I didn't have a barrier. We do lose some of our units, but not too much. I think the barriers here did okay. Right side collapsing though. Arclight seems to get stuck on a sledgehammer and therefore it's not clearing the chaff as well as we would have hoped. And a couple sledgehammers here managing to get in, get that Tara debuff. We are still advancing left side, so it really seems to be a case of I win the left, he wins the right. Now we're walking through our own flames though. But okay, the fire goes away. Takes a while, but looks like we will be able to win another round, and now we've sort of equalized the score. Round number 8, another smoke bomb shows up, and smoke bomb is also available again. But here I'm thinking, probably don't need to pick another smoke. Likely just going to be a skip. Again, super heavy armor here could be a consideration. Throw that onto a level 2 sledgehammer in the middle. But otherwise, probably just going to be a skip. Opponent goes for the Rhino again, this time around on the left, trying to just take out some of my hounds. And, well, it's a classic long-range game where there's a bunch of spells and you need to shield every single round. This time around, I will put the shields further up. And, well, what else do we want to do? I could use more chaff, maybe more chaff clear. More Void Eyes also could be fine. The nice thing about Void Eye is they're somewhat annoying to take out. Especially when there's a lot of them. So building more could be a good idea. And I think that is exactly what we're going for. Yep, more Void Eyes here getting picked up. One here on the right. One behind this Void Eye, or behind the Hound, excuse me, to help it out. Could probably use a couple more Farseers as well. Opponent here gets range, I believe, on the sledgehammers. So, only had mech range before, but now has that range available too. Temp range, very important. Neither of us are loaning on round 8, because both of us are kind of realizing that this is going to be a long game. But yeah, gotta get that temp range. But as you can see, you know, the Void Eyes seem to do just fine, even though they are pretty low range for a carry unit compared to something like, you know, Marksman or even Phoenix. But their damage is so good and they're relatively tanky that they seem to do kind of fine. Like you're this weird kind of standard board that moves in slowly whilst chewing through all of the enemy units. And look at that. Very, very satisfying board to look at, in my opinion. All of these Void Eyes just, yeah, crushing. Look at that. Charge Shot just annihilating a high-level Farseer. And again, right side losing, left side winning. A little bit of smoke over here. But we should be able to grab a debuff. Although we are moving through the smoke. But the Void Eyes will move in. And eventually we will kill the enemy Farseer. But again, not much damage. I mean, both of us still above 3k. And we're on round 9. Third round of unit reinforcement shows up. And, well, a mountain is there. The other units don't seem that good to me. Maybe I could consider Tarantula here for even more chaff clear, but are we really going to play Hound and Arclight and Tarantula? I felt like I needed something to perhaps tank, and Mountain here being offered, hard to turn down. So I'm going to pick it up. I will sell it because it's level 1, but at least I managed to get that deployment and 500 resources from selling it. And now I can buy a level 2. Now, what Mountain is mostly used for in these scenarios is just a tank. It of course has that mountain plating, which will block 1400 damage when attacked at level 2. And that is quite powerful, as you can imagine, right? It'll block a really big portion of the sledgehammer DPS. In fact, these level 2 sledgehammers cannot deal any damage to the mountain whatsoever. The spiders can't either. The Farseer can, the hounds can't, all the chaff can't. And on top of that, this unit has 350,000 hit points. You will see me undo here. Kind of a trick sometimes to try and see how much money you actually have. Then recruit a level 1 chaff and rebuy the unit at level 2. Armor here. Probably need a mobile beacon. Temp range has been clicked. I am loaning. Opponent goes for the second attack enhancement. And we're going to try and move this in. Main reason, I'm not trying to necessarily get to the tower fast. But it's mostly just to try and tank as much of the units as possible. And yeah, I mean, look at this guy, right? Super, super tanky. Barely taking any damage. And it's buying me so much time on that side of the board. Left side, we know that we were winning before, so I wasn't too concerned about that. And yeah, slowly but steadily we are now walking through. Got rid of all the chaff. Now the mountain can get to help out as well, because it is very good against mid-sized units and even like big targets. So you can see it's chewing through the sledges relatively quickly. And that is an actual big turn now, right? Like, we've been chipping away at each other's health bars, but now that the Titan's involved, that's a significant amount of damage, and the opponent will go down to 1,000 hit points. Now, it's not enough to finish him off, and this is where the mind games begin. Round number 10, Lightning Storm is a must pick. Obviously, both of us will pick it. There were two things I was expecting here. Either I thought he would go EMP on the Farseer, because I did see that he had it, or EMP on the Sledgehammers. In which case, I would just keep it there, and maybe go for another Farseer and click Photon. The other thing I was worried about, though, is if he went Farseer, Abyss, excuse me. Because my anti-air is currently just one Farseer, and Abyss is very, very good against something like Mountain. So that's kind of what I was expecting him to do, and I take a gamble, and I think, okay, it's probably gonna be Abyss here, because it's not only a more solid counter to the Mountain, it also counters my board and lack of anti-air. So I decide to sell my Mountain, and I decide to go 2 more Farseers with the Burst Mode tech. Actually, 3 more Farseers with the Burst Mode tech, trying to preempt that Abyss that I was expecting to show up, or expecting to see. I guess Melter also would have been an idea for the opponent. Burst Mode would help against that. This is why I'm not going AA. This could be good down the line if there is an Abyss, but for now, Burst is just kind of generally good to have, and it should give me the DPS to kill an Abyss as well if it were to show up. Temp range has been clicked. Of course, both of us are loaning. Opponent, though, goes for the other play I was expecting, or I thought about, which is EMP, and actually he goes AP on the Sledgehammers. We'll have to see, though, if our play does well into this line. It's something that I did think about, but I wasn't necessarily expecting it as, like, the top play, basically. But there's a lot of mind games going on with Titans in this game. Especially when they show up on the line like that, a lot of Heimamar players will expect you to sell the Mountain or the Titan and then move it, or perhaps even just remove it from the board entirely like I did. And so there's a bit of like bluffing going on, right? Sometimes you can just keep it there, and even though it'd be vulnerable to an insta-lock from a Melter, the opponent simply like doesn't put it there because that would be such an obvious counter, right? That surely you try and play around it. Well, looks like we didn't have any success. And round number 11, Electromagnetic Blast here does show up. I decided to pick it. What you can do with this is hit some shields. And then with a missile, you will actually get to 40k damage, which is the hit points of a regular shield generator. And that should allow us to land this fire, because fire and oil are back off cooldown. We're going to go for all the shields ourselves. I probably should have gone for the small one, because the small EMP was offered as well, as you can see. And that would still allow me to hit the same amount of shields as this big one, but for way less money. So a little bit of an inaccuracy there. Opponent does go for that. And you can see he goes for the same play, right? EMP plus the missile here to break the shield. I didn't know about this. I should have bought a crawler. I meant to buy a crawler, but I think I forgot somewhere during my turn. So looks like the oil will sadly land. And I decided to go for suppression shots as a third tech on all of these high-level Void Eyes, hoping that maybe reducing the range will buy me enough time to get through all of the sledgehammers. Temp range picked up again. Opponent now going for... Oh, undoing. Going for the sprinkler tech on the hounds. Very good pickup. And was thinking about the spider mine. But he only has 4 spiders right now, so it wouldn't be like the most valuable. Fire still doing a decent job. Will get cleared up by the looks of things, but still a good amount of the enemy crawlers here are getting caught and dying. Void Eyes taking out some of the spiders. You could see that you have that kind of EMP effect from the suppression shot. Looks very similar, right? Degen beam, EMP, missile slow, they all kind of have that electricity effect. But sadly, left side now losing. Tower goes down. And this is really not looking too good for us. And so now we find ourselves at 640 hit points, and I'm not really sure what to do in this scenario. I feel like we've gotten outscaled. The sledgehammers are beating my Void Eyes because of those carry techs being available. And yeah, I feel like I missed my window. So round number 12, I decided to pick up the redeploy. And I'm really unsure what to do here. Do I go for another mountain? Go for that photon play after all? But now, you know, the sledgehammers are way higher level, and they've got that AP, so the damage is far more serious. And yeah, you do see me kind of try to go for that, but then I realize third tech photon on Farseer is extremely expensive, and I would have no money left, so that doesn't really cut it. So you will see me undo, and I'm thinking, and then I see that there is perhaps an entryway to the tower here if I go for Abyss with the vertical sweep. And that seems to be what I go for. I undo, I unlock the Abyss, I buy it in at level 2, the temp range is getting clicked. And I realize, I think that I have to move this across so I can make some space for the Abyss to sit right in front of the tower. There it is. Vertical sweep has been clicked. Fang gets moved backwards. Abyss in front of tower. And then that's pretty much going to be our round. Of course, again, temp range, temp speed. Always remember to click it when it's this late. And, well, is it going to reach? Oh, disaster. Somehow, it does not manage to hit the tower. And now, oh, I mean, that one wasn't even close, but that looks really silly. It now gets EMP'd, so the sweep goes back to being horizontal. And yeah, I mean, this does not look good whatsoever, right? The spider mines have been picked up. 3 more spiders from the looks of it from my opponent, but I am getting absolutely crushed here. And sadly, that will be all she wrote for this game. Getting overwhelmed on the 12th round, and our Void Eyes are no longer able to keep up. Perhaps our chaff clear also kind of subpar compared to the spiders from our opponent. But yeah, no cigar. Now, what should I have done this game? I think one clear way that we could change it is the play that I thought about. I actually went back and tried this immediately when I played this live, which is to call the bluff, right? I did expect him to either go Abyss, or I expected him to go for EMP. Now, of course, we'll take the Lightning Storm. We'll probably chuck that somewhere over here. I guess we could also chuck it over here. Beacon this in, of course. Temp range, temp speed. We probably have to go for a whole bunch of barriers because we do not want to get stormed. And then we likely need to go for a Farseer with Photon right here. Now, other things. I guess a crawler maybe here in front couldn't hurt. Just to try and keep our shield alive as long as we possibly can. And, well, aside from that, I don't think that we need that much. I guess I could sell a sledgehammer. Maybe grab some of these levels. And, well, aside from that, I'd say we're fine. I guess we could level these arc lights. Let's see. So, now we have, right, the different play. Opponent goes for AP Sledge and the EMP Farseer. That gets preempted by the Photon Farseer, which we picked because, well, EMP would turn off our armor tech, and obviously we would take way more damage because of that. And let's see. Can we make it through? Looks like we're fine. We are getting EMP'd now, but there's not that much left on this side of the board, so we are making it closer to tower. We do get the tower debuff, still have some units left alive on this side of the field to try and chew through those sledgehammers. And now we're collapsing, getting to the other tower, should get it, kill the Farseer, and how much damage is that? Slightly more, right? Yeah, almost 2,000, so it would have been plenty, because if we go back to watch the replay, opponent only had 1,000 left. So yeah, calling the bluff here would have been more than enough, and sadly we made the wrong gamble. I think around 12 it would have been almost impossible to win. I did try some stuff, so final round definitely wasn't it. I think this was kind of the crucial moment in this game. Obviously, like Void Eye, at some point we'll just start losing, especially to linked, or not linked, ultra carry sledgehammers. But yeah, that is the game. I still think this is a fun one. I do like carry Void Eye. I think it's good on aggro, but I think it also can work sometimes in standard. So if you like this video, leave a thumbs up. Let me know down below what you think of carry Void Eye. I actually have a mod that really like calling them Peepers. So if you like that name, let me know. If you want to stay up to date on the latest content, please consider subscribing. And if you want to see me play live, check me out on Twitch. With that being said, take care guys, and see you in the next video. Bye-bye.